I work for a company called Level 3 Sports. I'm out of Birmingham, Alabama. And the name of this presentation, as you can see, the use of mindfulness training to reduce the harm from self-sabotaging behavior. This is mainly for practitioners, and I've spoken to several of you in here, and that you have the desire to become an independent consultant, a sports psychology consultant. So I think this is going to be very interesting for you folks. So let's go through some fundamental basic stuff. Everyone here knows the answers to this before we get going, but I thought perhaps we could just do a quick recap on some definitions. What is self-sabotaging behavior? A textbook definition: self-sabotaging behavior can be defined as act or acts that undermine personal success or hurts or hampers progress. It can be linked to a negative belief system that acts to preserve a self-image with the avoidance of failure. I want you to keep that phrase in mind. MAF, motivated to avoid failure, particularly with athletes that you see that are inclined with that motivation, with that motivating trait. Self-sabotaging behavior is similar to face-saving behavior, a slight difference, but in the same family, in that it can define an event or behavior designed to lessen the results of an embarrassing performance and preserve an established self-image. Please keep those two things in mind, because when we get to our case study, it's all going to make sense to you. What is mindfulness training? An individual technique that you can use, suggested by practitioners as simply a tool to assist athletes with improving responses to negative thoughts and emotions. Mindfulness training can be used to help athletes respond to self-sabotaging thoughts in a non-judgmental or positive approach, and hopefully they'll just make it a neutral approach. That's the whole thing that I try to get my clients to do, is no thoughts at all. Let's get to that point. If we can sort of stop the negative stuff, we can substitute it with the positive, then let's get to the third level, which is nothingness, emptiness if we can. But this is the beginning of it right here. So keep those two things in mind. What are some of the elements of mindfulness training? Orientation, as you know, and of course, self-regulation. Now these two obviously have correlations with mental skills training. Awareness of spatial surroundings and behaviors. What is around them? Are they open to the things that are around them? Is the athlete aware of what is going on around, literally, what is going on around them? Are they aware of what's happening? Focused breathing, of course, this is a basic fundamental in mental skills training. However, in mindfulness, it plays a bigger role. Are they breathing? I know it sounds like a fundamental tenet. However, I have worked with athletes that their breath is very shallow and they're not aware of it. So part of mindfulness training is making them aware not only of their surroundings, are they being affected by their surroundings, and are they breathing? Breathe. They're staying in the moment, a big one, non-outcome, no result thoughts, no outcome thoughts here. Here we are. We're right here. Not there, not back here. This is where we are right here. It's tough. Competitive people, this is a tough thing, as you all know. You're all here probably have played sports. You think about the result. If I can do this, then this is my expectation. No, we're eliminating that kind of mindset. Here we are right now, and that's all that matters, is here and now. A big one, non-judgmental, neutral in tone. This is going to be a very difficult thing for me to do. No, it's not. Well, this is going to be a very easy thing for me to do. No, it isn't. It is what it is. Getting rid of this judgmental before an event even happens many times can raise an anxiety level. Certainly with the athletes that I work with, what we try to do is just talk in neutral tones. Nothing is hard, nothing is easy. We just experience the joy of being in the moment now. It's not hard, it's not easy, it's not tough. The hole is not long, the hole is not short. This putt's going to be fast, this putt's going to be slow. No, it's not. It is what it is. Let's just stay in the training, what we worked with. You go through your pre-shot routine and you execute. That is it. Let's just make it dry and let's execute. End of story. And targeted self-talk. This is a big one. How is the athlete communicating with themselves? Classes, books have been written on this subject, and it's certainly with my clients, I try to get them to self-regulate how they are communicating with them. What are the literal words that they are using with themselves in here? Write it down, whatever you need to do, and we'll analyze at the end. And are those words negatively affecting your outcome or your performance? Now, here we go. Some of you in here, I've already spoken to some of you about being a working consultant, someone that is in the workplace. You're on your own now, all right? Let's do a case scenario. Let's examine a case scenario where you, as a hired sport psych consultant, you personally have been called by this athlete to work as part of a team. Now, that's big, and I'll tell you why. To assist in the training efforts of a boxer. I don't know of any MMA fighter or a boxer that does not have a training crew, a trainer, a cut man, strength and training, nutritionalist, depending on how much money they've got. They got to have a whole staff of people working for them. This athlete has called you in. The training staff did not call you. The athlete called you. That's important. Why is that? The athlete hired you. The athlete is your client. The athlete is your client. However, you're working within a team environment. You have to get along here, because the trainer, they may not roll out the welcome carpet for you in some of these situations. Your client has a history of temperamental behavior that has resulted in disqualifications in several fights. We don't know why. The guy hits low. He gets disqualified. The upcoming fight, this next fight, is a preliminary bout with the winner moving on to face the reigning world champion. In other words, we've upped the game now. So he's already setting the expectations for you already. Your client has asked you, the working practitioner, to help in his training to try and diagnose his past behaviors. That may be out of your lane if you're not clinician, right? But this is your client here. He's a paying client. And to his past behaviors, and to suggest a course of action if he begins to exhibit those same self-destructive techniques in the upcoming fight. You have 6 weeks to come up with a plan. A little bit of pressure, but this is the real world that you're going to be dealing with. MMA now may even be bigger than boxing. So, and this actually happened to me, so I'm giving you a case study right here. I say to you all, now, do we have any precedent? Can we go back in history and learn from the past and then bring technique into the future with our client? Does everybody know who that is? Does everybody in this room know who that man is? Exactly. That in 1990, that is the baddest man on the planet. He badder than anybody in this room, badder than any man on the planet. According to him, he was the baddest man on the planet. Expectation has been set. Self-image, concreted. Iron Mike Tyson, youngest heavyweight champion, 1986. He won the WBC heavyweight champion, 20 years old. 1987, he won the WBA and the IBF championship. He was 21 years old. If you all don't know, I'm not going to go into it very heavily, but in the early 90s, he had some trouble with the law, went to prison for 3 years. He got out of prison, and then he was working his way back up. In 1996, so he got out of prison, I believe, in 93. So from 93 to 96, he was taking some lesser fights with some, tomato cans. And then he won, again, the WBC and the WBA heavyweight championships. He was 30 years old. Still, supposedly, the baddest man on the planet. So from 1980 to 1996, Mike Tyson was considered the most feared boxer in the world. His overall record, 58-6-2. So here we go. Now the stage has been set for this particular man. Baddest man on the planet, expectations high, self-image set. Here we are. Now, everyone know who Evander Holyfield is? Everybody heard that name before, right? In 1996, Mike Tyson's circumstances changed dramatically. Evander Holyfield was supposed to fight Mike Tyson before Tyson went to prison. So this thing was been hyped up for years. This thing was hyped up for a long time. Big money, huge money fight in Las Vegas. The referee, in the first fight now, the referee stopped the fight in the 11th round due to the beating that Holyfield was giving Tyson. A crack now. Here we go. A crack in the image has emerged from the hands of Evander Holyfield. Mike Tyson's global self-image is now in question. Is he really the baddest man here? I thought he was the baddest man. Well, apparently he's not so bad. So what did he do? A second fight, of course. Another $300 million or $30 million prize. Boom. What happened? Does everybody know what happened here? Right? It's infamous in the world of sports psychology. What was the result of the fight, the second fight? Mike Tyson was disqualified due to repeated fouls. Keep that word in your mind, foul. He bit off, yes, I did not leave off a word there, off a piece of Evander Holyfield's ear, the cartilage part. Not a lot of blood there, but hurts like hell. You know, you get bit on the ear, right? Now this is the fascinating part of this whole scenario. He bit his ear off, and he spit it out along with his mouthpiece. And there it goes right there. He only got a 1-point deduction. So I think, in my mind, this is totally subjective now, right? It's my opinion. I think he thought this is the end. This is the end. No one's going to put up with this, right? He bit off the piece of the ear. Mills Lane, the man was bleeding. Mills Lane went there, took 1 point off. He comes at it again. In the same round, the third round, he bites his other ear. That's it. It's over now. It's over. The fight is over. What did Tyson say? After the fight, what did he say? Tyson justified his actions as retaliatory. He stated in post-fight interviews that he had to do something in response to Holyfield headbutting him. He also stated that he was concerned about how he would look. Underline look, because, I mean, here we go with this type of language. You got to listen to the language of these athletes. He was afraid of what his children were going to think about him looking the way he did. This has been a professional prize fighter. His children and his wife never saw him look like this before. So here we go. This sort of sets the scene for what I think was the real motivation here. What did Holyfield say? Right after the fight, you see it, look at his ear. Holyfield made the case for Tyson, self-sabotaging that fight. So I'm paraphrasing here. Everyone knows how to get out of a fight. Get out of a fight. You foul. Remember I told you to use that word. You foul. Then you can say, he didn't beat me. What did he say? He did not beat me. So Tyson said, he didn't beat me. I had to do something because the man's headbutting me. Tyson's reputation was in danger of collapsing. He had to do something in order to save face. AF. He left the arena without defeat. And that, in my opinion now, totally subjective, was the purpose. So here you are, Mr. or Mrs. Psychologist, right? Sports psych consultant. What are you going to do now? You've got an athlete that has done the exact same thing, not the biting, but hitting low in previous fights. What can you do? Well, you could perhaps use some of the mindfulness training that we discussed and mix it a little bit of your own here. If called upon, you will have to establish trigger words that put your client back in the... Now, we're talking about you're in the fight now. You've got 60 seconds, right? This is the lead up. 6 weeks, you've got 60 seconds. You're down there on the floor. He's hit once. He's hit under the belt one time. You've got to jar this person back to where they are. Get them in the now. Are you aware of what you're doing? Do you know what you're doing? But you can't talk to the athlete. You got to go through the trainer. That's why you got to build that team. You have to have a team here. Are you aware of what you're doing? Do you understand what you're doing? You will get the athlete to breathe. Are they breathing? Fundamentals here, MST. Is he breathing? You will make your athlete aware of his self-communication and determine if it is appropriate. What is this person thinking? Can they tell you what they're actually thinking? I'm going to destroy this man. I've got to get back at this man. That's not it. That's not the language you want. That's what you've been working on for the last 6 weeks. You will remind your athlete of the contingency plan that you have worked on for the last 6 weeks. Working with the other trainers, you have a plan. Can the athlete stay with the plan? And you will coordinate your plan within a 60-second framework with the trainer to confirm that the plan can work to help increase your athlete's confidence. My final thoughts are mindfulness training is just another tool that you can use with your client if you determine they may engage in self-sabotaging behavior based on their past behavior. Mindfulness training can also be used to help athletes engaging in ongoing self-sabotaging behavior. For example, the skipping practice, fighting, signing blame, so forth and so on. The question you have to ask yourself and ask your clients, what does the sport mean to you? Why are you playing this sport? Get them to go down their psychological rabbit hole and help them understand why they're playing this sport to increase their self-awareness. Thank you very much. I ran over. Sorry about. I ran over 30 seconds. I tried. I really tried. So.